I had a really good day yesterday. I went to Milton Keynes. It was a shopping centre, but I didn't really do that much shopping. I did buy something, which is amazing. Look, it's bat wings. They're proper big bat wings, and it came with a tail, and it was only £2. Can you believe it? They, I almost missed it. It was in Next, and it was just like on top of a big box of Halloween stuff that was all reduced, and I kind of looked like Kit Kats or something. I was thinking, why are Next selling Kit Kats? They kind of look like Kit Kats or something red at the top. And I went to go and see it, and then I was like, it's only, well, it said £2. I was like, really? And I thought maybe it was just like £2 for the tail and £2 for the wings, but no, it was £2 for both. But anyway, that was a good buy. Um, and and then there's a really nice spa there. The spa, I've always wanted to go and visit it because they had like a greenhouse in the sort of lobby area, and so it looked like a good one, and it was a good one. This sauna and steam room are like twice. There's two saunas, one steam room, but all three rooms are twice the size, or maybe even three times the size of the sauna and steam room in the gym that I go to in Birmingham one. And it's actually made me feel very envious because the spa in Birmingham it's not very good. It's a higher tier, so it's more expensive than the one in Milton Keynes, but it's nowhere near as good. The one in Birmingham is kind of just falling apart more and more people are complaining. And I try not to complain because I'm just glad that there's somewhere to go, because there's like no other places in Birmingham really. There was a nice spa that's nearby, but that stopped doing memberships after COVID, and there was another Valentine that closed down because of COVID and didn't open up again, and yeah, there's like very very few spas in Birmingham, and Milton Keynes was a place that I would have lived, but yeah, I could only afford a one bedroom flat, so I had a choice between a one bedroom flat or a house in Birmingham, and I chose the house because I mostly wanted the garden, and I don't think I made a bad decision because I really appreciate the garden. I really love having two floors that I can walk up and down on. I feel like if I was a god and I was living in a small flat, I would feel just constantly angry that other people get to live in a house and I don't, constantly angry that my life is so shit, and the house that I'm in now, okay, it's not really a good area, and the spa is pretty shit nearby, but it's I live in my house, and I walking around there kind of didn't make me, I didn't wish that I lived there, even though houses there are a lot more expensive. Yeah, I wouldn't have lived there because I would have only been able to afford a one bedroom flat, and but yeah, that spa was really nice though. So I do, yeah. There is actually a really nice spa in Birmingham, but it's on the outskirts, and I would consider like selling this house and going to buy one. There's like a really nice Virgin Active in the outskirts, and I'm really considering selling this house and then going to live somewhere on the outskirts of that spa, because I spend most of my time in the spa, and I feel like the spa is, it's really basically the only thing I do, as well as the cinema. But yeah, I don't know, the cinema films seem to just getting darker and darker, and I don't know what, if it's me or if it's just everything I'm clicking on seems to be negative, and just a whole bunch of stories that are horrible. And I've watched loads and loads of forensic cases, but when I used to watch them when I was a kid, I saw it as a believable source, and I saw all the forensic detectives and case files. I saw it as all things that were real but believable. But now that I've seen so many just false stories, false narratives, people talking about Diddy as if it's 100% true. We obviously know he did all this because there's so many people coming forward and they're all saying stuff. But I've gone through years of having people say that Jesus is the real God, and it's not. Anyone who uses the name of Jesus to call God is blaspheming, and they're making shit up, and then to have so many liars in the world, and then you start watching the UFO videos and just a ton of videos online, and then you're just thinking, what is real and what's not? Is this case? I saw a case another case yesterday where some girl was beaten, 12-year-old was beaten to death and R-worded, but then they started listing all the problems, like cuts all over her body and jaw broken on both sides, and you know, just a horrible description, and just left to die on snow. And just like a horrible story. But I'm just thinking, maybe the story is true, maybe the pictures and a lot of things are true, but just some things have been completely exaggerated, and therefore I don't even, I can't watch these videos and even feel sorry for the people, because I'm just thinking, what am I watching? What is the truth? What is not? I liked in the past watching films and having, well, documentaries, and having a certain amount of trust that I'm being told the right information. And now I'm just questioning everything, and I find it hard to know what's true and what's not. And I start asking the voice in my head, is this real? Can you give me some answers? And the voice annoyingly tells me that no, I'm not gonna tell you what's true and what's not, what's an accident and what's not, because this is how humans feel when humans watch these kind of films. They don't know what's true and what's not. They don't know what's exaggerated, what's lies, what's false narratives, and therefore I need to feel this same way, because this is how humans should feel. But unfortunately, this is not how most humans feel. Most humans would watch these things and just assume that the information they are being told is the correct one, and that's not how you should see it, because there is a lot of false information out there, and people should be allowed to say what they want. People should be allowed to say whatever they want, but people also need to recognize that just because someone is saying it, just because there's a documentary about it, just because they're bringing witnesses forward and showing evidence and showing pictures, that doesn't mean that everything in the video is the truth. I think people have this because of Christianity, people have this very black and white viewed minded, either this is all true or this is all false, and there's no ability to recognize the fact that this might not be the truth, or some things might be exaggerated, or some things might be unknown, some things might be told incorrectly. And I hate being in this situation where I feel like I just can't trust or believe, or I can't decipher the difference between truth and lies, because I wasn't there, and I don't want to know, actually. I think, but yeah, I heard Donald he's trying to look like the president that just comes in, changes everything and fixes everything. I know he's trying to do that, and he's doing quite a good job at convincing people that that's what he's about. And I support, I do support the idea of children not being allowed to get sex changes. I do support that. I think if children were told that reincarnation is the truth, hence the reason why you think you're born in the wrong sex is not because you're born in the wrong sex, but it's just because you were the opposite sex in your past life. But you need to recognize that most kids have been born in the opposite sex. 50%, I think there's a 50% chance that if you don't know which sex you prefer, there's a 50% chance that you will come back as the wrong sex. If you know which sex you would prefer, then keep it in your mind, think about it, and you'll get it next time. But accept the fact that you haven't got it this time. And if you want to get a sex change when you're 18, well, I don't really support it, but then I don't really support a lot of surgeries. People that walk around with big lips and just all this tons of fake plastic surgery. I don't really agree with any of that, but if that's what they want to do with their money, and then it's their body, their choice, and there's nothing I can do about it. But yeah, if he wants to support the idea of making it illegal for under 18s to make life-changing decisions through surgeries, then I think it's a good idea. And I also support the idea of children not getting boob jobs. I'm happy if you say that you have to wait till you're 18 before getting a boob job. But if you want to make it 21, I don't even think I care if you make it 21. There's a lot of 18-year-olds that like doing modelling, so maybe boob jobs should be for 18-year-olds. But I think people should learn to love their body for what it is, and not just keep changing it in hopes of getting some sort of fulfillment from it. But yeah, I have no problem with that. And the censorships, yeah, I think censorship's going crazy. I don't feel like my videos are getting censored, because only the ones that have copyright seem to be getting censored. So I don't feel like I have. YouTube's very good at taking my videos down, but I feel like they've already taken all my videos offline, because all my videos are only getting 20 hits or something. So they've already done something to my video that shut me up, which is one of the reasons why I don't want to. I'm happy to pay the minimal amount for those, to get rid of those stupid ads, but because there was this button that I pressed to say, do you want the download button to work, and I was like yes, and it said it will charge me an extra £1 if I do, and I pressed it, but it turned out it was a fake download button, and I can't seem to undo the extra £1 that they keep wanting to add, and so because of that I'm going to use that as an excuse to not sign up. I was happy to pay the minimum of $11.99. I'm not paying $12.99 because that's £1 more for a button that doesn't work. I don't want that button, and there's no way of undoing what I did, I don't like YouTube at all, because I don't feel like they're on my side at all. That they've done something to my videos that have prevented me from speaking, and okay, it's not the videos are not blocked by obvious choice, but I think they have blocked them, and I think they're doing this because they want to keep me a prisoner, and for this reason I really don't like whoever's running this, whoever's doing this. I don't know who is doing this. Maybe it's a bunch of pedophiles. I don't know. I don't know why they're doing this. I don't know why the singers know about me and are not supporting me, or not trying to undo this, or control them. Have they got a gun at your head or something? I don't know. I don't know, but I think YouTube have way too much power, and I'm still using it because there is no other choice. I could post on Vivo or something, but I don't think I think it's going to end up being the same way. So people are my enemy, and they're the ones that seem to be hiding me for a reason, and I don't know why. But yeah, I'm going back to the subject. Censorship is, I think it's going over the top. I think it's just organisations trying to control people, and they've got narratives of what they think is acceptable and what they think is not, and they're just trying to control the narrative. And I know that the narrative needs to be controlled, but it'd be nice if there was videos that actually have maybe approved, this is factually true, the information. Is there like a fact checker on the YouTube videos where you can have like a button at the bottom that says, this story is factually true, this story is not factually true, so any alien videos will not get the seal of approval. Maybe you could do something like that if there are tons of false, when I'm looking at serious cases of child rape and abduction, I feel like, is this the same as an alien abduction case? Why can't I say abduction? Abduction. Can't speak right now. But yeah, is it? How do I know what's true and what's not when there's so many lies out there? And maybe there should be like a button that says whether or not this is a true story. If a person has an Instagram page, it's like a blue button if this is really them. So maybe you could do the same thing on documentaries about horrible, horrific cases. Have somewhere on the thing that this has been fact checked. This is a fact checked video, hence the information on it is considered deemed right, and therefore that might be one way of controlling, a better way of controlling censorship, so people can say whatever they want, but there could be something underneath that says, this has been fact checked, and it's. The thing is that even then, some things might be like 90% right or 80% right. So it might not be a case of this is fact or fiction. Some of these abduction cases, like, did she really have that girl who was lying half alive and left to die, and died basically on the, they're saying that she was still alive when she was left there, but it doesn't seem how she would still be alive, because they said that her ribs would have been crushed because he'd been sitting on her. Her ribs were basically crushed, her jaws were broken on both sides, and I don't think I even posted the video because I felt like it was too sick to even bother posting. But she was stabbed wounds, bruises all over her stuff, and crushed ribs and broken jaws on both sides, and was kidnapped for 3 days and left to die on the. I mean, this seems like so horrific that it's unbelievable that she would be still alive after it, and they had cracked skull, and they had a big long list of things. I'm just thinking, really? How would she still be alive if she had all these problems? I mean, maybe, I don't know. I didn't want to post that video because it was too awful. But is it real? Is it not? I don't know. Is some of it real? Some of it not? Is it exaggerated? I don't know. And it's kind of horrible when you've got so many false videos and then you watch videos that might be true. And I suppose if you're just a normal person, it doesn't matter. It matters to me. Why? Because I'm God, and I'm supposed to know what's real and what's not. But I don't, and my higher self is not letting me know because she wants me to feel the same way that humans feel, which is that they don't know. And that's very annoying. But yes. There's also the thing of abortion. I feel like everything Trump said on that speech that I just posted is about is things that were dictated to him by Elon. I've got a feeling, because he talked about the transgender against children, and I don't think children should be allowed to make life-changing decisions like that now. I think they should wait till they're 18 and just be told that you've got the body you've got, learn to love it. If you want to consider yourself non-binary, that's fine, but you'll still need to continue using the same bathrooms that your birth gender was assigned to. Kids seeing someone that they always saw as being a girl and seeing them now in a boys' toilet, it's a little bit. Does she? It's questionable, and I think it's better that they just continue using the same one until a certain age. If they want to use like a disabled bathroom instead, I guess that is an option too. But if you're non-binary, then it shouldn't matter if people call you a he or she, because you identify as kind of both, or you don't see it as a problem. I always often say he or she, or get the term wrong. Why? Because I see all people as being both. I think my higher self sees all people as being both, and that's just how it is. But yeah, there's something Elon said about anything. If a baby can live outside the womb, then whether it's inside or outside the womb, it's still murder. And if he wants to make that claim, I don't care, because I know that there is far worse things than murder. There is far worse things, as in allowing a child to be born, knowing that child is just going to have month after month suffering, or perhaps there's going to be a big debate over whether the parent can look after the child, or perhaps the parent has other children to think about and just does not have the space for another, and perhaps something happens in their life, or perhaps their intention is to do drugs, and perhaps they are a prostitute who are likely going to get their own kids into prostitution and give their kids in a wrong path. I know what it's like to grow up wishing that I was never born. I have done this all my life, basically. I didn't have a bad childhood. I didn't grow up by drug addicts or any. There was no abuse in my childhood, other than the fact that I hardly ever saw my dad. My dad never changed one nappy, and he never did anything in my life. So it was only my mum, and I don't remember anything because it wasn't interesting. But yeah, I know that when I was about 6, I started realizing how bad of a mum my mum was, because I would see what she was doing to my sister, which, I don't know, pouring soap in her eyes, not intentionally, but just being very manic, and sometimes having manic flutters that just make her very, very stupid, and I started seeing myself as being more intelligent than her when I was 6, and this kind of made me feel like I had to be a mother of my own sister, and then I started being like, why have I been born into this family? Why have I been given these parents? Like am I being punished? Is this the world punishing me for why? Why am I being punished? Why? I believe in reincarnation. I've always have. I stopped believing that these parents. I believed in reincarnation because at the age of 6, I stopped seeing any similarity between me and my mom, and I was just like, she's an idiot. Why have I been given her? Why have I been given to her? And to think that there are plenty of parents that might think that I can't look after my kids, I can't do it, and yet they'll be forced to do it even if that's not what they want. That to them might just be an excuse to sell their kids. I didn't want you in the first place, so now that I was forced to have you, because I don't know, I got pregnant with a client or whatever, and because of that, I don't see you as anything more than just something I didn't want. If you're having parents that are forced to have kids that they don't want, they might start seeing their kids as just objects, and they'll mistreat them and make them feel shit. And I think if your morals lie on not wanting to murder, I don't care if you use the word murder. If you don't want to murder a 7-8 month baby because of it's immoral, but you're happy to have the potential of these parents who don't want their kids to raise them up, probably do a shitty job, probably start turning to drugs and perhaps feeding their kids alcohol and stuff. If you want to do that, then you really don't have morals. And I support some things that Elon says, but even if he considers it to be murder, I don't give a shit. There are far worse things than murder. I don't give a shit if you call it murder or not. I don't see it as murder. I don't see the soul as being something that enters into it until the birthday. Doesn't enter into the body until the day it's born. And okay, if you want to have a termination at 7 months, you should have had it as soon as possible. If you want to have it at 8 months even, I know that's very late, 'cause that's in the last month, and they definitely can survive outside the womb. But if why have you waited so long? If you were with someone and you thought they were going to be supportive and be there, and then they just run out, okay, you'll be able to get child care from them, if you'll be able to force childcare out of them, but why have you taken this long? I know there are some very stupid people who don't even know that they're pregnant until the later stages. But I think if you don't know that you're pregnant when you're 8 months pregnant or 7 months pregnant, I feel like there's a sign that you're probably mentally ill and shouldn't be having kids in the first place. Have heard of cases where people go to the hospital thinking that they've got something wrong with their stomach, and then they find out it's a baby and they give birth that same day. I've heard of these cases, and I think these people must be mentally ill. And then you should say it's wrong to give abortions for late pregnancies, but then you should also say, isn't it wrong to allow mentally ill people to have kids? And if they don't know that they're pregnant until 7-8 months, then there's obviously something wrong with them for not recognizing that there's something that's kicking inside their stomach. I just and I think with the number of problems and the number of people, prostitutes, 15-year-olds that start taking up prostitution, ask these people who are living in I would love to do a statistic on that, find out like how many mothers wanted to have an abortion, and just get statistics, get 100, find 1,000 mothers and ask how many of these people would have taken an abortion, to be honest, to give an honest opinion and not just say what, tell them that their kids are never going to know. They just want an honest opinion on if an abortion was available, would they have had it? And then go and look at these kids and see what kind of life they've lived, and ask these kids, how many of you have spent your whole life wishing you had a different parent, and if because of that abortion ban that prevented your body from being murdered, I don't give a shit if you see it as murder or not. If that would have happened, we would have been given somewhere else. You would have found different parents, and okay, they probably wouldn't have. They might have been similar. I think if my mum had died, if my mum would have had an abortion, I would have just been given to parents who were similar to her, I'm aware of that because my my past life was a cave woman, and I have been given parents according to the assessment that I got 23,000 years ago when I was a cave woman, and that is why I've got the mother that I've got now. But yeah, I was not happy to have this life. I was not happy to have these parents. And if you live a nice happy life, then of course you wouldn't understand that. And I think that your morals then just lie in your own circumstances and your own situation. But if you got the statistics on how many people have grown up wishing that they had a different parent, or just born somewhere else, and if you ask those mothers, did you want an abortion, maybe they were actually just prophesying their own child's suffering. Their child has gone up wishing that they had a different mother, and maybe this is the reason why they wanted an abortion, because the soul was speaking to them, saying that they wanted to be somewhere else, but because they weren't allowed to have that abortion, these souls were forced into these people, and then their lives were so much worse than they should have been. And that's where my morals lie. My morals lie on trying to give people a decent life, a good chance of having a life, and you can't do that if people that can't look after kids, or have too many, or don't have the money or funds or stuff. And so I will always support abortion, even if it's late. I would like to know. I think it's fair if you're getting a late stage abortion to know the reasons why you want a late stage abortion. And if the reason is that they're living in a trailer park and they've got two kids, and they just they literally don't have the space, well then you should see that you're doing a favor for that kid. That the soul that's going to enter into that body can go somewhere else, and you should see it not as murder, but as you saving that child's life by not forcing that child to have this life, but instead the Matrix is going to give it to someone else. And whether it's murder or not I don't care if you see it as murder. I don't care. I think it's not about you. It's not about your view. It's about the likeliness of that child, and the life that child is going to live.